G'day everyone, Jason Belmonte here, and we are watching the 2017 Players Championship in Columbus, Ohio, playing against Anthony Simonsen, fellow two-handed player, and Anthony had bowled really well in his previous matches here, onwards to meet me here in the final. So the pattern that we're playing on is long. A very long oil pattern, and if you were to ask me right now what it was called, I couldn't tell you. I could just tell you that it was the 2017 Players Championship oil pattern. But it was one of those patterns that I think was about 47 feet in length, and you, as the day was going on, especially through qualifying, the further you moved in, the slower your ball speed had to be. You just saw so much length in that oil, so much volume, and a lot of guys use a lot of surface. So the further left that you went, the slower you had to go. So it actually been the surface that we were playing on here as well. It was a high friction surface. It really required, you to move well inside the track to even start the matches, to start the tournament off, let alone, this is game 4 now of the TV show. So you got the TV lights, you got 4 games that have played on them. It wasn't going to be unusual to see both Anthony and I that far left, but still your speed was critical on this oil pattern. Fun fact is, the week before this tournament, I had, with Storm, collaborated on a new ball called Timeless, and Norm Duke came up to me at the beginning of the week, and he told me that the very first ball that he ever had his name attached to, he won with it in his very first tournament on the PBA Tour, that he was able to use it. And he said, I hope it happens for you as well. So, anyway, just a fun fact to remember that, you know that I win this one, but it was just kind of fun at the end of the match. It popped into my head. I'm like, wow, Norm said that I might win this tournament with a ball that I've collaborated on. It's got my name on it for the very first tournament that I ever played in, which is really, really cool. So Anthony's using 2 different bowling balls, which, to be honest, I wasn't entirely sure why, and I never asked him. He catches a bad break there, leaving the 7-10, but he had a really, really nice look on the left lane, and I didn't find the lanes to be all that different, so I couldn't understand what he was seeing that I wasn't seeing. But typically when you're using 2 different bowling balls, it can be quite troublesome for the player. You might have to throw them slightly different, or you're going to see a slightly different shape, or you might need different speeds. And when you've got one game on television to win a major championship, having to bowl 2 different ways can be, problematic. I'd rather just have to throw it the one way and repeat that. I mean, that shape that he had there on the left lane was just really, really nice. And I guess he wasn't seeing that on the right lane. He wanted to change ball to try and find something similar, but sitting from where I was sitting, I'm very happy that he didn't use the same ball on both lanes. So here I am with my Timeless ball, and the key right now was, get a little off, but you got to keep your speed slow. Anytime that you threw it a little bit quick. Now, most people will look at that reaction and say, oh, you missed it to the right. And, obviously I can't remember how far to the right. It was not that far to the right, though. I know it was close, but my ball speed was high. And when you're creating those kind of angles at the front, if you throw it firm, it'll blow through the spot. So you don't necessarily miss to the right, you just throw it fast and the ball never has a chance to actually read in the right spot, so it gets behind the head pin, which makes it appear to have missed it right. I'm a big smile on my face there. There was a comment in the crowd. At the beginning of this match, I was eating a banana, and I told an anecdote of a cartoon show in Australia about Eric, who, when he ate a banana, became Banana Man. And Banana Man saved the day, like every other superhero today, except he was a grown man in a banana suit. And I told the story, I thought it was funny, and when I made that spare, a young fella in the crowd yelled out, "Go Banana Man!" It made me laugh. So I remember catching a lot of flack for this show too, based on the way that my ball was going through the pins. I hit light a lot this match, and I was talking to a few different people, and my fear was especially when you watch Anthony. So at this point in the match, you go light, again light, with the ball speed being a little bit firm in the third frame, and then light again. Those 3 strikes, I actually throw pretty well. I'm happy with my speed. I'm happy with the direction. They're coming in light. They're striking. And I remember talking to somebody and saying, my fear was after the 4 games that had, or the 3 games that had previously been on the pair, and with Anthony being a little further right than where I am, my paranoia was if I move right, I'm going to catch a lot of early hook somewhere, and I might go through the face. If I stay where I am, all I have to do is just slow down more, and then that is going to keep me in the right spot, in the right part of the lane. I don't have to worry about any early hook. And that's something that, like, even Anthony then, he got it in a little bit of target, which, when I saw him throw it, I thought it could have gone high as well. Obviously, he's a slower ball speed. He's still got a little axis rotation, so the angle through the pins is obviously aggressive, leaving the split. And that's exactly what I didn't want to happen to my bowling ball. If you see how much rotation I'm putting on it and how much side rotation I'm trying to put on the ball as well, if I see any early friction, I'm going to leave something through the face like that. So I wanted to stay well away. So Anthony now has, 2 opens with a double. I'm ahead in the match. Why would I change anything? I mean, as long as I keep my speed right, then everything else should go to plan, right? So I do the same thing, go a little light, and they striked. Struck. They struck. It struck. And I was hoping, well, I'm just going to keep hitting the pins this way, and they're going to keep falling. Why move?
And if this continues, he won't have to go flush yet.
The one thing I will say, though, is when you're bowling like this, you aren't super confident in your ball carry. You like to see your ball go high flush. And that was just another firm shot. Just firm. It's amazing, like as soon as you're, especially when you're lofting the left gutter, you have to generate speed at the release point to create loft. You have to, it has to go in the air. So if you don't get it going slow enough, the 210 or the 2-pin combination can come right into it. But like I was saying, you don't feel very confident in the way your ball goes through the pins. You're really hoping to see that they do strike. I mean, when you're going high flush, when you let the ball go, you already know. This is 10 back. I feel confident. Everything's great. Right now, I'm thinking, if I hit the 1-3, what's going to happen? Am I going to leave something? Are they going to be mixed up? I don't know. And it's certainly a worrying thought if coming into the 10th or 9th and 10th frames where you're needing strikes to win the match, you don't want to be in a position where I don't know what's going to happen if I throw it good.
Another opportunity for Simonsen to get back in it. He's got the lead to 16 with a strike.
So Anthony comes back with a strike, and you can see he's moved in a little bit. He's laying the ball probably a few right of where I am, and you can see how much oil there is on the lane and how long it is. We're talking about a kid with 600 RPM throwing the ball considerably slow using an alpha crux, which is a strong cover, strong ball, and it just floats down the lane the whole way. So that's the shot that he gets a little further to the right. Ball stops right in front of the pocket.
You can see that ball looked like it was right
High flush.
and it finished dead flush into the pocket.
So I remember thinking, you know, these next few frames I wanted to make good because I was thinking, well, if Anthony does get on a bit of a run, which he's incredibly capable of doing, he's that kind of an attacking player that when he gets on runs, he strings them together. I wanted to, you know, kind of make Anthony know that I can do the same thing. So that shot there was meant to be, in my head, going to be my best shot of my life. Like, throw it great, let him know that you're just as comfortable as he is now. And this is one of those shots where when you watch it go down the lane, you're like, oh, is it going to strike? Is it not? You have no idea. And there's the flat 10. The soft, slow rolling ball doesn't quite, you know, whack the 10 out when you don't get it going through the pins quite right. But, you know, I think to myself, all right, he's going to obviously have to throw some pretty great shots. Your job now is to just let him know that you are just as comfortable. That's all I can think about, is making sure that he's aware that he's going to have to strike. I don't want to be giving him any more openings. I want to make sure that, you know, these next few strikes are really, really perfect off my hand, and again, make him feel all the pressure.
Very low scoring final, 178-161 in the PBA Detroit Open. That might be what he needed.
A little light, strikes, I'll take it.
Big smile there from Belmonte.
So that's the kind of loft, the slow loft that I really enjoy doing. I really like to play the lanes where I can move left and not have to, you know, really throw the ball hard over the gutter. I like to just, you know, have this little bit of higher loft than usual, let it slow down, and kind of, you know, really use my wrist to create the rotation that I'm looking for. It's a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, that's true. Simonsen through the face again. You could tell the telltale sign of standing up quickly.
So that's that early hook that I was afraid of. I didn't think that was as bad a shot as a 3.6910. I mean, it looks fine, and then it just overhooks there, and that's the part of the lane that I wanted to stay away from. So, yeah, it wasn't the prettiest, you know, first 8 frames I've ever bowled, but I believed it was the best 8 frames that I was going to achieve. You know, using that part of the lane. So Anthony somehow makes that 3.6910. I'm still not sure how he made that. It almost looks like he bowled the ball with his head facing backwards before he let it go. That's how off balance he was. But, you know, now he's really, really opened the door for me, even with that 6 count spare to close him out. But as all great champions do, he'll throw a strike in the 9th to just, you know, make sure that this match is not completely over if I don't step up and do my job. So the last one flat 10'd on this lane. It was everything how I wanted it. I guess the only idea was slow down a little bit more. Slow down and, you know, hit it. So I did. Got some really nice carries. Like the one strike that I threw that actually hit the pocket per se, as you would expect. But the angle that it was coming in on with the side rotation, the loft, the speed, it had a pretty interesting carry. I was very fortunate in the end not to leave, you know, either the 7 or the 10 or both of them. Now I need him a mark to win the match. I'm thinking, come on, Timeless, just one more strike. That's all, just one more. And there it was. That was another ball reaction where, you know, I absolutely pured that shot. It's exactly what I wanted to do, and the ball just kept sailing down the lane, but it just was hitting the pins, you know, over a percentages, you know, we're talking 7 out of 10, where it wanted to strike. So, you know, the advice or the lessons that I sometimes take away from this match is, you know, it's not necessarily how pretty, it's just how many. And if you're getting the job done, sometimes it's better to just keep getting the job done rather than, you know, trying to be prettier. So that was to give me 7 major championships, which would tie me with one of my favorite players of all time, Norm Duke, and using a ball that I brought out the week before in Timeless was pretty incredible. I mean, I still can't believe that the very first tournament on the Pro Tour that I have a ball with my logo on it, I was able to actually win the title using it. The Players Championship has been a really great tournament for me. I've had a lot of success there. Wayne Webb and all of his staff there in Columbus are just awesome. They treat the players with so much respect. They really make us feel welcomed. And obviously the fact I like winning Barbasol tournaments, you know, it gives me an opportunity to feel what shaving cream feels like on my face, considering it never happens, ever.
It was only 2 years. It might have felt to him like 20. But professional bowling has been served notice that Jason Belmonte has returned and has returned as a major champion.
So there it is. The 2017 Players Championship victory. Wayne Webb wearing and Mrs. Webb wearing, oh well, she's wearing respectable clothes, I would say. He's looking a little bit more outlandish. But I can't thank those two enough for their support of the PBA Tour. This was a really special victory. Actually, the ball that I used on that show came home with me. It's on my in my trophy cabinet at home. So I've kept a few bowling balls. I've kept a Lucid from my very first major championship win, the USBC Masters. I've kept that timeless. And the next one that I will keep will be when I win the US Open. When I win the US Open, I'm going to have that ball to put into the mantle, to the archives. So that was a pretty historic win. I was very chuffed by it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed what I just said.